Hi, folks. Good evening and welcome. I'm going to call the regular meeting of the Nevada City Council to order. Today is Wednesday, June 26, 2024, and it is 6:30 p.m. Welcome. I'm going to ask my colleague Lou Cece to read our Nisenan tribal recognition, please.
We acknowledge that the Nisenan people are still here among us today, though nearly invisible. We understand that we are on Nisenan land that was never ceded, and the original tribal families have yet to recover from the near genocide of their people. As a resident or visitor in the Nisenan land, we support the Nevada City Rancheria Nisenan tribe in efforts to stabilize their people, as well as their campaign to restore federal recognition.
Thank you so much, Lou. That was beautifully read. Adam, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excellent. Before we do a roll call, I would like to note that Council Member Fleming will be absent for tonight's meeting. We wish him well on his much-deserved vacation on a beach in Spain, which I heard from him today about. I'm completely envious. And I want to note that Nancy Astian from the City Attorney's Office is here this evening. Thank you, Nancy, for being with us. And lastly, our Deputy City Clerk, Gabby, will not be with us this evening, unfortunately. Our thoughts go out to her on the loss of her mother as she watches at home. Gabby, send in love and support to you. And Brittany will be here in your place providing clerking duties tonight. So with that, Brittany, roll call, please.
Sure. Councilmember Cece?
Here.
Councilmember Klein?
Here.
Vice Mayor Peterson?
Here.
Mayor Fernandez?
Here. All right, thank you, Brittany. So next is the adoption of the agenda. Council, now's the time for any agenda modifications. With that, would anybody like to make any additional changes to the agenda, pull consent items, or do we have any recusals to announce? All right, I'm looking for a motion and a second to adopt the agenda.
Move to adopt the agenda.
A second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Cece and a second by Vice Mayor Peterson. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Great, motion carries. So we're moving into this evening with a few presentations. We're going to start off with a proclamation for Park and Recreation Month of July 2024. And Dawn, I'm going to invite you to the podium with me while I read, if you don't mind, and then ask you to say a few words. So this is a proclamation for Park and Recreation Month 2024. Whereas Nevada City Parks and Recreation is an integral part of our community, and Parks and Recreation is integral in communities throughout this country. And whereas Nevada City Parks and Recreation promotes health and wellness by providing spaces at Pioneer Park for sports, exercise, and play, improving the physical and mental health of people who live and visit our city. And whereas Nevada City Parks and Recreation promote time spent in nature by providing trails at Hirschman's Pond, Sugarloaf Mountain, Deer Creek Environs, and the downtown areas. These trails and open space positively impact mental health by increasing positive performance and well-being and alleviating illnesses such as depression, attention deficit disorders, and Alzheimer's. And whereas Nevada City Parks and Recreation encourages physical activities by providing facilities and programs for sports, hiking, swimming, and many other activities designed to promote active lifestyles. And whereas Parks and Recreation provided by the city, businesses and nonprofits increase a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction. And whereas in 1985, the U.S. House of Representatives designated July as Parks and Recreation's Month, And whereas the National Recreation and Parks Association, also known as the NRPA, promotes each July as Park and Recreation Month with the theme for 2024 being Where You Belong. And whereas the City of Nevada City recognizes the benefits derived from parks and recreation resources. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Nevada City does hereby recognize July 2024 as Park and Recreation Month in Nevada City and encourage those who live, work, play, and thrive in and around Nevada City to enjoy one of the many parks, trails, pools, one of the many park, trail, pool, and recreation programming opportunities provided by the city. Dawn, thank you so much for your work with our Parks and Recreation, and would love for you to say something if you feel compelled.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So as always, I just want to thank the council for continuing to make Parks and Recreation a priority because well, Gary knows, but there's always things happening in Pioneer Park and they are mostly good. And so, the cheers at Little League Field, the whistles at the pool, and, all kinds of activities down on the field. So thank you for continuing to support us.
Yay, thank you so much for your work, Dawn. All right, our next presentation is from the Nevada County Economic Development Action Plan. And so we're going to invite Kimberly Parker and consultant team from Nevada County to come up to our chairs and join us. We want the orange light.
That's right. Well, last night we had to hold our buttons, so you guys are a little bit more advanced.
You're welcome.
Good evening, Mayor Fernandez and the members of the council. My name is Kimberly Parker. I am the Economic Development Program Manager for Nevada County, and I am joined tonight by Bill Mueller with Integrated Communication Strategies, the consultant on the Economic Development 2-Year Action Plan project that we have been working on for just about a year now. I'm going to give most of my time to Bill because I think he will really be able to lay out what we're looking to do, but I would like to, for those of you that may not know me, some momentary background in case you don't know it. My office, the Economic Development Office at the county, was created 2 years ago. In fact, in August, I will be starting the 3rd year. And the first year was really about creating our roots, figuring out what exactly our direction should be, and gathering as much data and information as we can. We quickly realized that there are some incredible economic development activities that are going on in our county. Number one, through our economic engines such as ERC, Sierra Business Council, SBDC, Sierra Commons, our chambers, our jurisdictions, the 2 cities in the town. And so we don't want to interrupt incredible activity that we know is already going on. We really want to enhance and engage in that process. But also, I think what was really exciting as we went through this process, and I've been in Nevada County for 24 years, and I have to say in my 24 years, this is really the time that I saw where all sorts of entities really came together. While the county is facilitating this plan in terms of its movement, it is a county-wide plan, and it really is a result of all of the comments and feedback that we received, not only from the partners I just mentioned, but also the Arts Council, the realtors, the contractors, the workforce development, the colleges, education, and high school. And so we were very excited by, the plan. It was adopted by the board in March, and now we're into the implementation phase. And so with that, I'm going to turn this over to Bill Mueller, and he will give the formal presentation.
Great. Thank you, Kimberly. Mayor, council members, it is good to be here, and we have about a a 10 or 15-minute presentation. Does that sound about right? And then
Sounds great.
Okay, and we hope to have some questions as well. I do want to start by saying that I grew up here. So I'm a product of Nevada Union and very proud that this work has sort of come full circle. I went off to college and worked in industry and nonprofits, and it is just fabulous to be back. I'm literally going to be running by my sister's house up on Clay Street right after this. So I'm really excited to be here.
Excellent. Bill, where do you live now?
I live in Lotus, Coloma, right on the American River.
Great.
Yeah. So to start off, just a little bit of background on the plan itself. So as Kimberly mentioned, this particular document was approved by the county, but it's the work product of many, including several conversations with Sean to sort of get the lay of the land of what was happening here in Nevada City specifically. It kind of represents a step 3 of the Economic Development Office for Nevada County. So step 1 was for the longest time, the county did not have an economic development department. One was formed. A economic development leader needed to run that department. That would be Kimberly Parker. And step 3 was putting together an action plan. Now, many communities go very deep into a rich analytical exercise where they're looking at economic clusters and economic density analyses and a whole bunch of other things. That is in the future. What was really important for Kimberly and members of the county supervisor and others, that we have a practical plan, a plan that really focuses on action, hence the name. And also a belief that there's a lot of fabulous activity that is happening already, but maybe not enough knowledge of what all those actors are doing and how those actors can collaborate. And so this is really an effort to bring all of those parties together. And so that was our effort over the course of the last year. So moving on, a little bit about the particular approach. We use a playbook approach. Why is that? Well, economic development is really a team sport. It is an effort of cities and counties, of schools and business, of nonprofit groups, arts groups, and others. And so in order for the actual economic result to happen, all actors need to sort of work together. And so thinking about it in terms of a playbook, the notion is that rather than having sort of a top-down structure, this is a bottom-up structure. We lay out a series of plays that can be executed, but organizations can take it upon themselves to be able to sort of activate those and work on them as they see fit, as resources come into play. Further, a playbook allows a great deal of flexibility, because how many planning processes have we been through where after maybe 6 or 12 months elapses that we don't have the flexibility to act because the assumptions have changed radically, especially today when we have so many disruptions and shocks that are happening. So that's a little bit of the context, why the playbook status. And then the two sort of goals of this plan were not only to help sort of clarify the next 2-year actions for the county, but also how the county can work in greater collaboration with your city, other cities, as well as community-based organizations, the economic development organizations as well. So it has sort of a 2-part mission. One is, what can it do? What can it do on its own? What can it do with others? So the other thing to know about this plan, as Kimberly mentioned, is that we actually went out and talked to a bunch of people. Well over 80 individuals, 30 different organizations. And it was listening. It was asking questions. What is working? Where are you finding success? What are the pain points? What are the challenges? And really listening for that, and then looking for opportunities to align those things around common goals.
Bless you.
Bless you. Many of you are probably familiar with a SWOT exercise. It's sort of common for government as well as business. It's a strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats analysis. What are your strengths? What are you not so good at? Your weaknesses? What are your opportunities and threats? Having worked for the global chip manufacturer Intel, I was trained on a SWOT plus method, which is you look at your strengths and weaknesses, but you add 4 additional boxes because a SWOT alone only tells you what the map of the territory is. It doesn't tell you what to do. So by relating opportunities and strengths, you want to maximize or invest in those areas. If it's a weakness and an opportunity, it's an area for decision. Primary threats, primary strength, an area of defense, but also if it's a weakness and a threat, then maybe it's something that you want to exit. So rarely in strategic planning efforts do you actually stop doing things. And so this sort of tool helps us do that. So we're going to focus on the middle box, the maximize invest strategy. And this is what emerged out of all of those discussions, the economic research that we were able to do, and some follow-up meetings where we ran the results of these findings by everyone and gained sort of concurrence with that. So that is also very unique. You have well over 12 different organizations that are all pulling in the same direction. So item number 1 is a grow from within mindset to build a foundation. So these are all timed for the next 2 years. We know, as well as you, that small business are the engines for job creation and economic health. And that job growth happens from within. In some communities, they hold the belief that if only we could recruit the awesome company from outside our community here, that may have been true 20 to 30 years ago. It is no longer true today. In fact, about 97% of all job growth happens from within a community. It doesn't happen from without. And so economic development experts are really focused on how do we grow from within? How can we sort of create the conditions for that growth? And so that's a primary focus here. Focusing on business startup, retention, and recruitment is also incredibly important. We have tremendous organizations here in Nevada City and beyond, but really focusing on the challenges that small businesses face. We know through our work that access to capital, access to talent that has what are called soft skills, the ability to do 7-step problem solving, the ability to communicate, the ability to work through disagreement. These are not always what employees come equipped with straight out of school. So these are things that increasingly employers are needing and wanting, and that we need to do our level best to be able to meet. Increasing county economic development support and investment, so that is part of the plan as well, so stepping up the county's participation in that. Boosting the visibility of the county and its assets. County here, while capitalized, doesn't mean the county as a jurisdiction, but the entire community. We find that even more can be done to advertise the many events, the celebrations, the unique assets that Nevada City has, as well as other communities across the county. And with that, not only do we boost tourism, but we also boost recreation. We also have sort of a good quality of life message that comes out when people want to relocate here. This is a very important sort of message to get out. And then adding additional tools and information to support local business growth. So these are the sort of 5 focus areas. And again, one of the things about them is that they were all scaled to a 2-year activation window. They were all meant to be carried out in the next couple of years. There are other things that we would love to do, but this is really about sort of focusing in and building a foundation, including the relationships among those organizations of teaming up in ways that they may not be teaming up now. 70% of those strategies can be implemented without additional permissions. They have a lot to do with coordination and meeting together and sort of pulling in together with existing resources. And that was intentional so that we're not sort of waiting for that amazing grant that is going to unlock our ability to work, but things that we could do right now. There are key performance indicators as part of this plan. We point to areas, but ultimately an annual work plan would sort of have key performance indicators tied to that. That's some work that we see ahead. Regular progress monitoring. When the Board of Supervisors approved this, they set the expectation that on a quarterly basis, there would be a report of economic activity. This is work that is already happening, but we'll have more to report on because of this new roadmap. And we're, as you know, we're doing a bit of a roadshow. So we're coming out and hopefully sharing the news with you, and also a very strong invitation for future collaboration opportunities in these areas. The areas of focus that I named earlier are actually just the tip of the iceberg. There is very, very detailed parts of the plan that offer tactics and actions behind each one of those. So we provide a step-by-step guide as to how to carry this out. And again, built by those that are already practicing economic development and community development in your communities. This next slide, and it's next to our last slide, I believe, is really about the actions that can be taken with local governments, because there are actions that chambers can take, actions that other business groups, arts groups, nonprofit groups can take, but this one is more or less tailored to all of you. So collaborating with the county to engage with local employers licensed in their jurisdiction. So one of the things that we know is that that across the county, there is not a countywide business license, which means that less about revenue, mind you, it's more about being in communication. It's knowing who's in your community, how many employees, what are they, what is their physical location, so that we can be in conversation with them. Teaming up, the next bullet, teaming up on a business retention and expansion campaign, what in the business they call a BRE campaign. We need, that might be for me. So just to wrap up very quickly.
No, you got Sorry, I didn't know the time was
That's
going
all
on.
right.
You said 10 to 15 minutes.
So in 30 seconds, Mayor, I will say we're very excited about working with you on the BRE strategy, and that is about an early warning system. So we need to be in regular conversation with employers, your small businesses, your medium and large employers. That happens currently, but we're encouraging, after talking with your partners, to do that even more systematically, and to ask what are their challenges, what are their issues, and what are their needs. We know that there's been exits from your community of businesses. This program would help us know before they're going what their pain points are, so maybe that we can keep them here. And again, knowing that growing from within is so pivotal, having a program where your chambers and your local governments and your local utility and your education providers are meeting with local business in, again, a systematic way can have a profound impact. And it's a great sort of base building exercise for an economic action plan like this. So with that.
I'll just say, for those that either may be listening or in the audience that have not seen the plan, for those actually go and you view the plan, it is on the Nevada County website under the Economic Development page. And so it's a 37-page document. And so I really encourage people to spend some time and look at it. And, you know, one of the things that I will just add to this mix is, as I mentioned earlier, you know, there's a lot of good work being done. So right now, I'm doing a lot of information gathering out there in looking at the plan and identifying where is work happening, what entities and agencies want to do work in a particular strategy area, where people see gaps and challenges, and then, you know, where we see our priorities. And so that work's being done and it's going to be put together by the end of July, and we'll really start to look at that and then really move forward with that. At this time, I thank the council for letting us come and present to you tonight, and we would be happy to address any questions you may have.
Oh, Kimberly, Bill, thank you so much for that presentation. I will bring this back to the table. Any questions or comments from the council?
You mentioned a quicker permitting process and moving forward on employee housing. Is there any particular permits that you had in mind that could be more quickly granted?
All of them.
That's a great question. We don't identify in the plan specific permits. We do focus on the fact that workforce housing is a pivotal issue that needs to be addressed. I know that you know this well. And we also highlight from the Mountain Housing Council, which operates out of Truckee, they have some incredible interventions that we think that are underway in Truckee that could also be put in play not only in Nevada City and Grass Valley, but countywide. So we're very interested in learning more from them about what they're doing. But it is that missing middle housing that is so critical. And also in our conversations with the local health system, really important to community health as well, the way that we go about building that housing.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks. Good to hear from you. Nice to see you again, Kimberly.
Thank you.
You know, it's interesting. I appreciate the county setting this up. In a small county, in a rural county, in a very small city here, our interconnections with the county are far greater than people would expect. As example, housing and permits. A lot of that runs through the county. We don't do that here in Nevada City. We've got to be in alignment with the county on these topics in order to move these critical issues. By establishing your organization as a means for coordinating across the county, we're all going to be in a lot better shape to do that. I also do think that Truckee's got some great ideas around housing. We looked at Truckee quite a bit on a number of things. I think it's our preferred similar community. I'm not sure, but maybe I shouldn't say that. We like all of our neighbors. There's only 3 of us. So. But I think I applaud the effort. I will read the plan. I'm really interested. I'm a systems-oriented person, and we've got to do it systemically. We've got to look at always the object of providing in employee resources, which is so challenging and so limiting in an area like ours where we have the limited ability to train a workforce. We've got Sierra College, but it's not like the urban areas where people are rolling out of colleges looking for jobs. So there's a lot of work to do to make sure that all those jobs we want need education and that we have the people that are providing that source.
Absolutely.
May I respond?
It's okay with me.
I just wanted to make mention that because of this plan, conversations are kicking up with Sierra College, the high school, and others in a very productive way. And so that's the other byproduct of this. It's proving to be a catalyst on those things. Sierra College, we know, is wanting to step up its role in the county, which is, again, a great response.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Great. And Adam, I'm sorry I didn't go to you first. You're on our Economic Resource Council. You're our committee
Expert.
member.
Oh, yeah.
So I apologize for not coming to you first, but we'll sauce,
I
which is me, but you go ahead.
saved the second best for second.
Penultimate.
Hello.
It's a good word.
I'm penultimate. Thank you so much for the presentation. I can see at least a few business owners sitting behind you right now, and I'm sure there are more at home. So Kimberly, are you able to talk about, get real specific of the sorts of resources you can provide for a small business that maybe feels like they need help, and now that they know that you're there, what kind of help are you able to bring people who show up and say, here's what we're doing?
Sure, I will. I'll start off by saying that I kind of connect my role as a concierge. I, get more and more calls every day, and they're really quite across the board, from varying kinds of small business to big projects to entrepreneurs with ideas, et cetera. And what I generally do is sit down and have a conversation with them to better understand what they're doing. If they are working within the county and they have to go through either planning or building or public works or environmental health, then I try to work with them to work through those processes within the county. But then I also really work with them if their issue is finance, as an example. I try to get them connected to resources about that. One of the things that I find with a lot of the small businesses that are starting out is they've not developed any banking relationship, as an example. So really kind of talking through the steps. Most people, I shouldn't say most, many people right now are finding me through the website and through my monthly e-newsletter that I do. And on the website, there are tremendous resources, but I try to, through the county, track funding opportunities. I've worked with a number of both nonprofits and businesses in suggesting funding directions for them, including grants and other things. And then there is the tremendous work being done by some of our economic partners, ERC, Sierra Commons, Small Business Development Center, and they all kind of have very key niches in how they work. And I would say 90% of the people that I talk to have no idea they exist and have no idea that these resources are free. And they will tell you that what I call the warm handoff, to them in terms of the number of businesses that they, are now meeting with and talking with has gone up, dramatically, because again, they're finding the county office first because that's where people look. For projects that are fairly established, I will say we've implemented one other area, and that is what's called an initial consultation. And this is a process that we're starting to try to get some entities to go through before they put a pre-application in. What's happened in the past, people put pre-applications in and then they get this very long letter back and it's saying, all of these things and all these fees, and they've invested a lot of money. So for people who have a pretty good idea of their project and have some very specifics, then they can come in and I can bring in the appropriate partners to sit down and say, these are some of the things you should expect. And these are some of the requirements you'll see from the city, the state, the county, other places. And so that by the time they get to the pre-application phase in the work they're doing, they're much better prepared and they probably get a lot fewer comments back, but also they really have not necessarily done the outlay of money before they've gotten into that process, so they know exactly what they need to budget for. So hopefully that answers.
Very useful structure.
Yeah.
Very useful structure.
Adam, thanks so much for always looking out for local business. And yeah, just really no questions, just really grateful for the county engaging in this action plan. I think that the more opportunities we can have to build the ecosystem of our multiple communities here, the better we're all able to benefit. So I'm excited for this. Thank you for your work on it.
Thank you all for having us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks. And sorry, my thing went off.
It's quite all right. All right, we've got just 12 more presentations, and by 12 I mean 2. We have a presentation next for a service recognition for City Clerk Neil Locke, and I'm going to pass it over to our City Manager Sean Grayson for this one.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I'll look in the camera up there at Gabby, who hopefully is not watching in real time, but we'll be watching YouTube, sending you our well wishes. The mayor announced why she's not with us this evening, but Neil, she really wanted to be here this evening, but just saying hi to you on her behalf. Big hugs from her. So and this community has a long history of long-serving public servants, whether it's in our last, well, it'll be 175 years next year, whether City of Nevada City, Nevada, or the previous 8 millennia before that as Ustama. But I think Neil might be unique in how many titles or hats he's worn in his public servant capacity. So public planning commissioner, city clerk, city treasurer, Nevada County Historic Landmarks Commissioner. I'm probably missing some, but 4 is more than anybody else that I can think of. You know, and ending his term as the last elected city clerk for Nevada City on June 30th this year. So that is all I have to say. I will hand it back to you, Madam Mayor, for the council's comments. But we have, Gabby picked this out with Brittany's help, I'll let the mayor give it to you, but I'll read it. It says, "For your selfless commitment to our beloved city, you have our gratitude and heartfelt appreciation for your service as the last elected city clerk of Nevada City." It's not my favorite color, which is purple, but it's pretty close. I really like this. So, Madam Mayor.
Excellent. And Neil, feel free to sit there and take in all the love that we're about to lavish upon you, or feel free to come up to the microphone and take it in, whatever you feel most comfortable with. But I am going to open up the table first for comments from the council members. And then would love for you to speak if you would like to. Yes, please come sit, join us. Oh, I'm sure you don't.
Nobody believes you.
Nobody believes that at all.
All right, so council members, do we have things for Mr. Locke?
Yes, Neil. I tried to come up with some adequate expression of my gratitude for your service, and I couldn't, so I wrote you a poem. For Neil Locke. Okay. Nevada City's proud to boast an office holder who's the most, our diligent and timely clerk, Neil Locke, who's graced us with his work. A city clerk keeps cities real, attests the minutes, keeps the seal, calls the roll, and keeps the score on votes and such. But wait, there's more. Our clerk, in dapper hat and cane, has come before us to explain the history and lore complete of every ordinance and street. And how without him would we know what day to praise the piccolo? When is Dairy Week or Rhubarb Month? Would we even guess them? Not even one. Yeah. But putting silliness aside, we sincerely say, and with pride, you've been our colleague and our friend. The good you've done will never end. So as you leave us, please accept our thanks for all the care you've kept. We wish you well, and by the way, happy Chocolate Pudding Day.
Pudding day? Probably is.
Confirmation. Lou, you should have brought up the rear with that one.
Yeah. Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
Gary.
So, Neil, I've been in and out of Nevada City for years, but when I was running the airport in the early 2000s, and I got my breakfast every morning at Java John's. And you and John were in there, and every morning I would drive and pick up, I ate those like oat hockey puck things and coffee, and every morning, and I would talk to you guys, and I learned so much about what was going on. And then, through the time and the acquaintances and all this stuff and the relationships that we built over the years, fantastic. You know, I always say that in Nevada City, we spell characters with a capital C, and then you're like right there, right there. Yeah, so it's a wonderful relationship. You've done an enormous amount of service for this community, which is what it's all about in Nevada City. And so you exemplify what is so great and wonderful and unique and just a little bit crazy about this town. So love you, Neil. Thank you for this.
We're going to go in a row here. Adam's going to bring up the rear.
I wish I'd planned more.
Neil, the first few times that you and I met, we had like sassy, sort of biting interactions. And I used to joke that you were my arch nemesis around town, because that's the way it felt, in a really playful, fun way. And the more I got to know you, the more I just really, really appreciated you. And what you bring to this city. You're my favorite historian here. You are capable of holding multiple narratives of history, multiple lineages of history. You know, a wealth of information about our motherlode history, about this town and previous iterations. And you are also a huge advocate for the Nisenan, who predated all of it. And perhaps it's because we share a community, but I am grateful for the ways that you show up and tell the histories of this place. Thank you so much. You make me smile.
Neil, thank you so much for your years and years of service to the city that we both love so much. I'll just say this: my very sweet girlfriend does not come to these meetings. She can't stand them, but she went to my first one. And afterwards, she was effusive in saying that you were her favorite part of that meeting. And I said, not the part where I was talking. She's, no, it was Neil. And I pointed out that this was your last meeting and so forth. And she doesn't like the meetings enough. She didn't come to this one either. But she did want me to say hi and thank you for your service. I'll bring that up when I get home, but by then it'll be far too late. But thank you, Neil. Yeah.
Is there anyone else at the table that, no pressure, that wishes to say something? Perhaps that's not customary, so I apologize.
Everything's customary.
It's true. Wow,
It's true. It isn't, it soon will be.
it's true.
So one group you missed was Chirp.
Speaking of the mic, Neil.
Oh. That's your job. Yes, you missed Chirp. I spent 15 years with them. 6 of them as chairman of the board.
What is troop?
Sure.
Chirp.
Sure, okay. I know what that is.
Good job.
So I have a little bit to say. All right. I want to thank you all. It's been a great time. My voice will come back someday. I'd rather be in Spain on the beach, but drinking something.
Rum.
So we'll go to the knickknacks for the night. Today is Forgiveness Day. So now I have to get these out. If everyone would pause and celebrate the day, the world would be in a better place. The world would be in a better place. Today is Chocolate Pudding Day. Conquistadors brought chocolate from Mexico to Spain in 1525. And that sounds like a long time, but remember, St. Augustine was founded by the Spanish in 1565. Today is the World Coconut Day. Now for the knacks. In a million years, the giveaway that we existed in this world would be microplastics. excuse me. The new vocabulary word is forget spam. In the AI world, it will be called slop. I have a gift for the, oh, we'll wait on that one. No, we can do that now. I have a gift for the city of Nevada. Nevada City has a city song, a city flower, and a city bird. The song is right here. There's a CD. And all the words, if those want to sing, it's right in here.
If
And then
only
we
we
have-
could find a CD player.
Yeah, I know. Well, somebody's got one. Well, bring it up. It doesn't take long to sing, but it's a great word, great song. The bird is the spotted towhee. The flower is the rose. And when I heard that the first time, and this was 1980, I thought, how boring. I can't think of anything more boring in a flower than a rose up here. But there are 7 native roses in Nevada County. And now for the ending. This is from Peanuts. We only live once, Snoopy. Wrong. We only die once. We live every day. So thank you. That'll be the end of the emotional world.
It doesn't have to be.
Oh, it won't be. Never will be. You think I'd know how to keep talking without breaking up, but no.
Is there a name to that song?
Yes, it's on there.
My Nevada City, music by William Sims, lyrics by Robert M. Wyckoff.
Yes.
Guitar by Adam Klein.
Thank
what I-
you for that gift.
Oh, you're welcome. That's what happens when you start. You collect, you want to collect in the beginning, then you collect everything. Now you have to dispose of it too.
Yeah.
So it went to a good home.
Can we get pictures?
Oh, I don't know about this.
Yeah, I know.
How about everybody for pictures?
Shall we stand?
Yeah, we shall.
Oh, I'll get there.
Hello, sir. Yes, you take your time.
Oh, I have to. The
Excellent.
body is telling me so.
This is for you. You are the gift to medicine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm going to put it down. No, they want pictures.
Yeah, let's turn it this way. It matches your outfit. It looks so good. Great. So let's all put our backs to the window. Yeah. Can we do that?
Sure.
And then put Neil in the middle. Neil in the middle.
Yes. Move in there.
Sage, get cozy on in there.
There we go.
Okay, so everybody look here first.
Oh, you doing just council first?
No, come on. Come on. So we'll look here first.
Cheese, please, and one more. Okay, we did.
And then here. My turn. Okay. Excellent.
Well, it's not the end. I'll be back.
Oh, I know. Lou, are you taking over the job of naming the whatever day it is? So when we, if you knew it was chocolate
certainly
pudding
hope so.
day, yeah.
I did bring chocolate pudding for everyone.
All right, one more presentation. Service recognition for Mayor Daniela Fernandez. Hey, that's me. I am going to pass this on to the gentleman on my left, Vice Mayor, soon-to-be Mayor Gary Peterson.
Yes. Mayor, it's your last meeting. How
Hey!
I have mixed feelings about it.
Me too.
So I think we've got some comments that we would like to make and a little bit of activities here, and I'll go ahead and I think I'll go to Adam first, so you don't have to follow Lou. Is that?
Does he have another poem up his sleeve?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Lord. Hey, Daniela.
Hi, Adam.
Hi, buddy. You never know what's going to happen in your year as mayor, and you got a real challenging one. And I know you probably had notions for how the year was going to go, and then it became something else entirely. It was tough for me as your friend to sometimes, occasionally, your integrity was questioned, your values were questioned, and that was tough for me to see. And then when you had a very human response to that, that was criticized. That was tough for me to see. But I am thankful that the entire time you remained human, in addition to being an excellent mayor. And I think that's something for us to aspire to. So thank you for your year as mayor.
Thank you, Adam.
I am literally speechless, partly because you speak so well. And any issue you address, you're eloquent and concise, and you have vision and integrity. And those are qualities I aspire to, and I have learned greatly from you this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Lou. That's really kind.
Wow.
Complimentary.
Well, mine is not concise.
Great. Awesome.
So Daniela, yeah, how cool it's been to work with you.
Oh, Daniela, yeah.
It's true. It's true. I prepared some remarks. So I'm just going to work through them here. So ladies and gentlemen, as Mayor Daniela Fernandez of Nevada City prepares to leave office, it's only right that we take a moment or two to reflect on her remarkable tenure and the lasting impact she's had on our community. Mayor Fernandez has been a true beacon of leadership, a voice of reason, mostly, and a champion for every single resident of Nevada City, unequivocally, every time. Her dedication to public service and her unwavering commitment to making our community a better place has set standards for justice, diversity, equity, and inclusion that will endure for years to come. Throughout her time as mayor, Daniela Fernandez has shown a profound understanding of the challenges facing Nevada City. She's tackled a wide range of issues from economic development, environmental sustainability, public safety, community engagement, and she's approached all of these with wisdom, empathy, and strategic thinking. Her leadership has not only steered us through the difficult times, some of which we saw, some of which we had no idea were coming, but she's also set us on a path towards a brighter future. Daniela's approach to governance is unique, but it has been marked by inclusivity and transparency. She has always believed in the power of dialogue, has made it a point to listen to all of her constituents, no matter their background or political views. While she may not have always agreed with what was said, her inclusive approach has fostered a sense of unity and collaboration within our council and our community. This has allowed us to tackle some really big challenges together and to celebrate the achievements that we have made, which are many. One of Daniela's most significant legacies is her commitment to inclusivity. Under her leadership, Nevada City has made significant strides in ensuring that everyone has a seat at the table. From the representative of our indigenous heritage to our many members of the LGBTQ community and across multiple generations, she's brought forth policies and projects that have united us, sharing power and voice at every turn. As Daniela steps down, she leaves behind a legacy of service, integrity, and vision. Her tenure has been marked by significant shifts and changes in our city, all while prioritizing the well-being of Nevada City and its residents. She's been a leader who hasn't shied away from tough decisions, always putting the community's interests first. and that's something I hold you in very high esteem for. Her departure from office is indeed a loss for Nevada City, but her contributions will continue to resonate and inspire as a councilperson. None of this has come easily, and the times we live in make it incredibly complex sometimes to find a way forward. Good leaders will pay a high price for their service, and Daniela has certainly paid her dues. Despite those challenges she's faced, she's conducted herself with dignity and grace, mostly.
That's generous.
It's the truth. We extend I would say, I personally extend my deepest gratitude for her service to Mayor Daniela Fernandez. Her leadership has been a true gift to Nevada City, and her legacy will undoubtedly continue to improve our community. All the best as she continues to serve as a council member, knowing that she will continue to have a positive impact. And just to veer off my own comments, there's a couple things I think are really important, at least to me, is you are a transitional figure. We live in a time where everything is changing. Generations are rising, generations are declining. Voices are given to people that never had voices. People are trying to take voices away from people. The pandemic, all of these things have gone, and this is not your natural environment. Government is not your natural environment, but you've stepped into it, you've learned what you need to learn, and you've done a hell of a job. And that's really powerful. The other thing I think is really important and does not get said enough about you, there's a lot of young people in our community struggling with identity whose lives are going to be a whole lot better because of you. And maybe when all is said and done, that's what matters most, maybe. So thank you, Daniela. I have a present for you. and then the city
I have a
has
feeling
present
I know
for
what
you.
this is.
You do know what it is, and I'll explain
I know
more.
what this is.
And
Speaking of mixed feelings. Anybody else know what this is?
I've got a guess.
Anybody read the Union? Anybody pay attention to our local cartoonist?
and my wife gets full credit for doing such an excellent rapping job. It's an original.
I know what it is.
So for whatever reason, I've been thinking a lot in song lyrics lately, and when she opens this, I think that the lyric might be, it's an old one, but I am woman, hear me roar, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The one that comes to my mind is, I don't give a damn about my reputation. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, I don't have that one.
Living in
so.
the past, it's a new generation. Aw, how charming. It's an R.L. Crowd original.
And the comment I want two comments about this, and believe me, I checked with Daniela before I gave her this, because one would not want to make a misstep on something like this. With Daniela, you hear about it. Yeah, you could be burned to the ground. But really, this is about taking that power back and acknowledging that power is real and it's truthful and it had meaning and it had a point. It is also Daryl Grigsby, who is a man I just love and have so much respect for, that Daniela introduced me to, wrote that great column in the Union responding to this and saying, if a man had done that, would they have done this cartoon? And the answer is, hell no, they wouldn't have. So I want to just point those things out, and I gifted this to Daniela as a way of transforming the power of that moment.
Thank you, Gary.
You're welcome.
Now I get to look at it anytime I want to.
I know, but I will tell you this. When I asked Daniela if it's okay if I gave her this, she said, "Are you kidding? I'm dressing like this at Halloween."
My hair is teased out to oblivion, and I am saying it's time I got paid for the privilege of using my bully pit to denigrate one of my constituents. If anyone would like to see that meeting, I'd be happy to send you the timestamp to see what verbal assault doesn't look like. Gary, thank you so much. Everybody, thank you for your kind words. I am of two minds on this. The first one is, cool, I got RL crabbed. That's great. And the second one was, well, I am just going to quote one of my male colleagues, one of my astute male colleagues that retitled this to say, "This is what a woman with strong political authority and a strong moral compass looks like to a man." So thank you, R.L. Crabb, for proving so many things. And thank you to my colleagues. Thank you for this. Thank you for the year. It was really nice to hear you guys say kind things about me. I think a lot about all that I didn't get done this year and all that I couldn't do. And that's what I spend a lot of time doing. So it's nice to hear good things and kind things and complimentary things.
They're all real.
There's a few people, thank you, Gary. There's a few people that I want to thank. I want to thank my planning commissioner, Amy Cobden, for being in it with me for 4 years. I really appreciate her service and also her friendship. There's a few people in this community that have consistently supported me and shown up over the 4 years. Nakaya and Ember and Diana and Jonathan and Janine. A huge thanks to my mama in Orlando, Florida, who watches every council meeting and knows all the things going on in Nevada City. And also for my family for tuning in. And a big thanks to my girlfriend, Jana, for really, really holding a lot of the intensity of the year with me. And because I am my mother's daughter and I don't really hold back from what I'm thinking or feeling, I've got some more things to say. So yes, tonight is about like me wrapping up my year as mayor. It's also about the completion of a 4-year term for Doug and myself, and also for Gary, who joined us about 5 months later. So a big congratulations to the 3 of us for doing this thing. We did this thing for 4 years and we're doing it again. It still blows my mind. And we've done so in unprecedented times. I know we've heard that word so many times, but we've really came into local government. We had an election in March, and then the beginning of March, and then later in the month, COVID shut the world down. And so through a global pandemic, we did this thing, and it was, over a year after our election that we even came together for the first time in this room. And the 3 of us, along with former council members Aaron Minette and Dwayne Strasser, really rebuilt city staff in a lot of ways. We got a new city manager, and maybe one of my favorite things that we did, because Sean Grayson, you are a fantastic asset to this city, and I am grateful for you every single freaking day, your support in every possible way. We got a new chief of police who is one of my favorite people to talk to when we get those opportunities to get on a phone call and be thought partners with. Thank you, Chief. And then also new heads of departments of public works and finance. And so I'm proud of that work that we did. I'm proud of that work that we did to shift our city hall into a place that works, is better suited for our city. I'm also proud of the work that Gary and I did to engage our community on policing and public safety. After the violent protest on August 9th of 2020, I was feeling really targeted and terrified and defeated in my first few months of council after that. And Gary offered allyship for the first time and friendship, and also a path towards action by way of, wait for it, community process.
Confetti.
And I think that work, combined with bringing Chief Foss on, led us to begin rolling out a community policing model here in Nevada City, a place where we begin to value relationships over anything else. And between our police department and residents, people who live here, work here, visit here. And today I feel super proud and confident that our chief and his team, our team, I feel super confident in you guys, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to shift the public safety culture here, to support that shift. I'm also grateful to my colleagues, everybody at this table, and then also the previous council for understanding the importance of engaging in meaningful relationship with the Nisenan as the original stewards of this land. You've never wavered in your support, anything I've brought forward. It's only ever been my objective to build that government to government and relationship in hopes of mending a tiny fraction of the atrocities that happened here at the hands of government. In fact, much of my work the last 4 years has been about trying to get right what I think government missed over the years. And that's, how can we mend and move forward? Sometimes that looks like a colorful flag that never hurt anyone, by the way, atop of City Hall during the month of June as a sign to some of our most vibrant and vulnerable youth, saying that we see you and we celebrate you. And sometimes it's creating a pathway for artists to work in partnership with the city to create public art for the health and benefit of all in our community. And sometimes it's about the smallest effort towards equity and accessibility by the basic practice of compensating people for their labor. Now, I'm not foolish enough to think that these acts of government are grand gestures with healing power to overcome injustices of the past. For me, they are a mere step in a direction towards progress. And so I, in my next 4 years, will continue to ask my colleagues and my constituents, how can we mend and move forward? I understand better the mending part. I have a background in counseling psychology. I worked with incarcerated women at the San Francisco County Jail. So much of my personal journey has been around mending and healing. It's the moving forward part that is the most difficult thing to do here at this table in this community. So my final words as I transition to a new 4-year term is to those folks who are desperately clutching on to the old ways out of fear of moving forward. You're not alone. This is happening across our nation, across sectors of government and industry, where our elders, not all of them, our elders are unwilling to usher in future generations, and that is hurting us. It's hurting us, and it's keeping us from moving forward. I'm not your enemy. I care about this place as much as you do. You're not going to push me out. Not with your rumors and lies, not with your op-eds in the Union, not with your sexist cartoons, not with your Facebook posts. And if you care about the future of this place as much as you seem to care about our 1850s past, I invite you to work with me instead of against me to meet the pressing needs of our time. I feel like if we come together, we can accomplish so much for this community. We can have a vibrant and thriving future grounded and rooted with the knowledge of those who came before. But it is going to take intergenerational, mutually respectful relationship building. So I'm asking folks, cut the bullshit and let's get to work. And if you don't want to work with me, that's okay, but get out of my way. Because I've got work to do these next 4 years, and I'm interested in increasing housing in this community. I'm interested in looking at creative solutions to homelessness and our economy and supporting businesses in our community. So I invite you to do it with me. And if there are younger people out there that live in Nevada City that want to sit up here and help shift policy so that it reflects our culture more accurately, please reach out to me. I would love to walk you through that process, to give you the knowledge that I have, because I don't want to do this for another 4 years after that. So with that, I wrap up my little speech there, and we're going to move into the rest of the meeting.
One final word.
You may.
I, after over 40 years in this community, this is the finest group I've ever experienced. And I think it's wonderful. It took 40 years, but it came with time. And someday I'll have to talk to you about some history I just learned about the 1850s.
Great. I look forward to that day, Neil.
Very surprising.
Thank you, Neil.
Excellent. All right. And with that, Lou, yes, we are going to take a 5-minute bio break so folks can use the bathroom, and we'll be back at 7:45. And we're going to launch right into public comments. So Government Code Section 54954.3 provides that any member of the public may address the City Council on any matter not on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city. The Brown Act, with limited exceptions, does not allow the council or staff to discuss issues brought forth under public comment. The council cannot take action on non-agenda items. Concerns may be referred to staff or placed on a future agenda. Please note that comments from the public will also be taken on the consent calendar and each agenda item as it is heard. Is there anyone in the room that has public comment on a non-agendized item? Please come up and join us.
My name is Don Fraser. I once again appear before you to ask for a resolution calling on the U.S. government to stop all financial and military support to the government of Israel. We've spent billions of dollars. Wouldn't it be nice if some of that found its way to parks and recreation, or mental health, or solving the homeless problem? I find it ironic that these meetings are started with a Nisenan land acknowledgement. Make no mistake about it, what's happening in Palestine is a genocide. Zionism is no different than Manifest Destiny. They're going in there, they're pushing the houses over, they're taking the people's land, and then they wonder why they rise up. The victims are moms and dads, aunts and uncles, daughters and sons, sisters and brothers. It is clear that the Biden administration is not going to change course until the clamor is loud enough to make it impossible to ignore. Bold statements from municipalities across the country will go a long way in helping that to happen. Silence is complicity. Please do not be complicit to these ongoing atrocities. Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
Hi, my name is Liz, and I'm a Nevada County resident. I'm here again to ask for a ceasefire resolution to be put on the agenda. Over 15,000 children have been killed, with thousands more missing. ABC News, Al Jazeera, Good Morning America, MSN, and many others have all reported that the number of children missing in Gaza may be as high as 21,000. That's on top of the over 15,000 children that have already been confirmed dead. So that's over 36,000 children in total. These missing children are believed to be buried under the rubble, lost, detained in mass graves, or their bodies are unidentifiable. At this point, anyone who is still against a ceasefire is completely out of touch with their humanity. The men, women, and children in Gaza are not collateral damage. This is not self-defense. This is not an unfortunate side effect of war. This is indiscriminate bombing in a densely populated area and collective punishment, period. This is purposefully targeting civilians, and it is, in fact, genocide. I hope you guys do the right thing soon, because I promise that most of your constituents want a ceasefire resolution. Over 70% of voters in the United States are in favor of a permanent ceasefire. Nevada City is not the exception. Daniela, I wanted to take a moment to say thank you for all that you've done as mayor and all that you've been trying to do. Although I think that we both wish it was happening faster, I do believe that you're trying, and I have felt seen and heard by you, and I have not felt that from everyone, so I want to say thank you. As a reminder of why I continue to come here, I'm going to list some of the horrific ways that Israel has killed Palestinian children in the last 9 months. Children have been killed by liquefied internal organs from bomb force, killed by white phosphorus burning through to the bone, killed by severe intolerable burns from fire, killed by tank shelling, killed by being blown to pieces by airstrikes, killed by amputations and loss of blood, killed by infections from minor scrapes and cuts in unsanitary living conditions, killed by sepsis and infections from major injuries and surgeries, killed by sniper fire, killed by point-blank execution, killed by rapid gunfire, killed by bombs exposing brain matter, killed by bombs that fully decapitated children, killed by being buried alive, killed by being crushed under the rubble, killed by suffocation under the rubble, killed by heart attacks from pure fear and excess adrenaline, killed by foodborne illnesses, killed by freezing cold temperatures in tents in the dead of winter, killed by overheating in tents in hot temperatures, killed by pre-existing conditions due to blocked medical aid, killed by starvation and dehydration also due to blocked aid, killed by being crushed to death in their tents by Israeli tanks, What we are witnessing in Gaza is evil. Nothing justifies what Israel is doing to these civilians. Nothing. What we are witnessing is an extermination. We should all be saying something. It is literally the bare minimum. So I'll ask you again to put a ceasefire resolution on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz.
Hello. Hi, my name is Amanda Chavez. I own and operate Rainbow Rocket down at the end of Broad Street past the freeway. Last time I was in this room, it was a very celebratory moment as my business was welcomed into the historical district, actually by you, Daniela, which I think it's kind of ironic saying goodbye at this moment. Now I stand before you very desperate and not sure where to turn. As far as with my business, as you know, major construction is going on in the intersection in front of my shop of Nevada Street, Sacramento Street, and Broad Street. This construction has destroyed my business, and so far my sales are down by half, leaving me in a situation where I can't afford my overhead or to have my business open. I have been told that the construction is going to be lasting till November. This was also notified to me by word of mouth. My landlord and the city would never notified me as a business owner about this major construction. I was also told by my landlord that he was not notified either, which doesn't seem to be very much sense to me. I have customers and friends that live on Nevada Street and have told me of their notifications and how they have been told about the project and how it could last between anywhere to 2 to 3 years long. I have no other choice but to close my business I have worked so hard on. Rainbow Rocket is not just a vintage clothing store. Rainbow Rocket is a home for musicians, artists, a free place for people to express themselves and have a sense of community for the alternative. Our corner is now avoided at any cost because of the construction and the traffic. There needs to be some kind of resources or funds that can support small businesses during these times. Our city needs to be protecting small businesses. Contractors continue to cone off areas in front of the shop that are unnecessary, so we still lose more parking. My sandwich board was confiscated while the rest of Broad Street continues to display theirs. I depend on my sign to show that I'm open. I am not the only business that is suffering, but I speak upon myself. Our corner is a huge part of the historical district, and we should be treated with the same respect. Let's keep Nevada City weird. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. Sean, can we reach out? Problems? Okay.
Hi guys, Zach again. I'm here. It was a sweet night in council. I appreciate and love this town very much. And, I think we all know what's so great about it. And I think we also know that there's a lot about it that is kind of a cardboard cutout of a town, kind of a Disney town. I mean, I grew up here. I know what it's really like under the surface and what it projects itself to be for tourism and kind of as a haven from the world is kind of how I see this town. For a lot of people, a place to come and get away from the cold reality of life and live in your flower garden and enjoy the river and that's great, and I'm glad that this place exists and people love it so much. But I'm just at a complete loss that kind of thinking is gotten us so far. I compartmentalize trauma. I disassociate from bad shit. I have to. We all have to. But the level of disassociation in this country right now is mind-boggling. That we're all standing for what's happening. I mean, we're systematically starving 2 million people right now, half of whom are children. And we know it's happening. This is not World War II, where we're like, oh, we didn't know what was going on in the camps. Jesus Christ, we see it. It's proven. and we're all going about our lives. I don't care about the ceasefire resolution anymore. I am asking why you're not with me at a protest. Why aren't you on the street screaming your freaking heads off? I mean, it's mind numbing to see the lack of care for any kind of decency of the world around me. It's scary. It's really scary. Why aren't more people scared and afraid and angry and sad? Like, how is not everyone feeling the way I'm feeling about this? It's impressive, but it's terrifying, and it will have horrible, horrible consequences. I mean, I'm like chanting at a protest, and really I just want to grab the megaphone and point it at people and say, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why aren't you doing something about this? Seriously, why aren't we doing something about this? This is all consensual. We can do something about this. I mean, people who are jumping the very bare minimum of the moral bar are not in charge of us. We could do something better. Please, like, go do something better. Thanks.
Thanks, Zach.
Hi, my name is Jesse Sabin, volunteer advocate for human rights in Palestine, among volunteer advocate for other things, but I'm here to talk about Palestine and our national government. I want to say that if you feel like going easy on Joe Biden because you're afraid of Donald Trump, you are participating in a race to the bottom. We've got 2 months before the convention where they, decide who's going to really be on the ballots. I think we need to keep pressuring Joe Biden and through, ceasefire resolutions. Still asking. There's still a genocide going on. We're still asking. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. Any other public comment in the room not on an agenda item? Okay. We move on to the consent agenda. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. Before we take action on the consent calendar, we will hear any public comment on consent calendar items only. Do we have any public comment on a consent item? All right, I'm looking for a motion in a second to approve the consent calendar.
I move we approve the consent calendar.
A second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Klein and a second by Vice Mayor Peterson. Any objections to the motion? All right, I'm not hearing any, so the motion carries. Great. I just want to take a minute to note, it's always a strange transition to hear public comment and then just go on to business as usual. And I just want to say to the people in the room and to the person who left the room, I hear you, I feel you. I hate moving on with business as usual. And that's the name of the game over here. I'm so sorry. Business item number 6. Consideration of Resolution 2024-27, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Nevada City making a determination of public convenience and necessity for an alcoholic beverage license application for Unit J Social Club at 124 Argyle Way, and authorize the police chief to authorize and submit all related documents, including license conditions on behalf of the city. Chief Foss, and Lisa, yes, welcome. Take it away.
Mayor, thank you. Mayor, members of council. Okay, I'll try to make this relatively quick, and then if you have any questions, just fire away. So this is for the location that was Ribald's, and then prior to that was
Old Republic.
Old Republic Brewery. So it has maintained a liquor license at that location for some time. When you are transferring liquor license or changing liquor license, which in this case, they are switching to a 51, which is the type of liquor license. There's almost 100 types of liquor license. Type 51 allows you to have beer, wine, and spirits, so it allows all alcohol. No need to serve food. So it is a fairly open liquor license. However, the big caveat for it is for social clubs or private clubs only. So the only people that are able to come in there are people that are part of the social or private club or guests of. So it's a fairly restrictive in that way. We can go through the slides here. Do I have a clicker or do you just? So what we're looking for on law enforcement side is, I remember I had a sergeant one time, he said, if there's breakable things in the bar, then it's a good bar because none of them are broken. And if you go into the bar and there's nothing that's breakable in there, then stay away because they're ready for trouble. This place has a lot of things that are breakable inside of it, which leads me to believe they don't want a lot of people to get very drunk inside. And you can see that it's in very good condition. They're still doing some building on it, but we'll go through it real quick. So this is the outside of the business. They are allowed to drink outside as long as it's a gated area. So right now they'll still have to do a little bit of not even construction here, but as long as it's barricaded across the door, then if you've ever been to this location, it is gated actually all the way around and on both sides. And it's a very nice area, nice little seating area just outside of the location. This, when you walk in, is 2 pictures of to your left. So what Unit J is, and we do have the founders here in attendance, so I think they could speak to it as well. But it is a very cool social club that specializes in, what is it, parlor games and billiards and pinball, especially in pinball and retro video games. So you come in, they have some retro pinball machines. The giraffe is going to be like an outside zone inside, but, you know, themed on the outside area there. To the right, that's probably my favorite one on the right-hand picture, is a little Lego room, which is really, really cool. And they're building a stage there with a little bit of a retro background. It's really cool. And of course, the pool table. So on the interior, you can see this is set up much more for socializing than I would say drinking. Drinking is just something that's going to be there for the secondary. The other part is when we are considering a liquor license of any type, we always want to consider what is the impact going to be to the police department in the city. I consider this to be a null impact to the police department in the city. Based on talking to the club members, what their idea and vision of this is, I really anticipate this as not being any impact to my department or the city at all. And I would recommend that we do approve this. And do you have anything to add on it, Lisa?
I would just say that the property had a previous conditional approval, conditional use permit approval from when Old Republic went into the space. And then Rainy Parlor Games, which now calling themselves Unit J, came to me early on, long before signing a lease at this space, and asked, you know, are we allowed to do this here? And so I researched the code, and the private member social club falls pretty squarely within a conditional use in the local business zone. And so I, informed them that they would need to come to the Planning Commission for approval. They received that easily on at our May 16th meeting, and they did seem really responsible with asking questions and trying to understand what it would look like for them to operate there prior to signing a lease and deciding to start improving the space.
Great. Thank you, Chief. And Lisa, I'd love to invite the Rainies up. Come on up. If you'd just like to get us started and tell us what a social membership club means, and then we'll have some questions for you.
And then we'll answer the questions.
Sweet.
Thanks for having us this evening. We wanted to give a quick overview on what the Unit J Social Club is. Initially, we never intended to start a social club. My husband and I, along with some friends, rented a warehouse 7 years ago in Grass Valley for storage. We started with a rug and an old kitchen table in the corner so we could play board games with our friends. Game night was a hit, so we next decided to buy a pool table. Wasn't long after that, we bought our first pinball machine. Turns out pinball is really fun and slightly addicting. So we bought more pinball machines and then some vintage arcade games and anything else interesting we found on Craigslist. As time went on, more and more friends started visiting our warehouse. Turned out everyone that came wanted to be part of the fun. We started looking into ways to make it more structured and organized, and after some research, it was clear that we wanted to start a 501c7 nonprofit social club. So we hired an attorney, created a board of directors, drafted our bylaws, submitted our articles of incorporation to the state and the IRS, and 3 years ago, we were approved and officially given our tax exempt status. Our main mission at Unit J is to provide a unique social environment where local community members can gather together. Our clubhouse is designed to provide an alternative from the local bar scene, providing activities and games where members can engage with like-minded people. We like to describe it as a modern-day Elks Lodge. The board of directors votes on all new membership. The most important application criteria: be kind, respectful, and of good moral character. We always have a doorman while the clubhouse is open. This ensures only members and their guests can enter, and that everyone is of legal drinking age.
Our members pay a monthly fee and can visit the clubhouse whenever we're open with a guest. Our doors are open every Friday from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. We plan to be open Saturday as well in the future. We also offer members the ability to rent the clubhouse for private events, and we host several holiday parties a year. We're excited for our members to have the ability to see a movie at the Onyx or have dinner all within walking distance. We also know there's a current effort to re-energize this area, and we feel our clubhouse and our members would really help with that. We've always known that if our social club got popular, we would eventually have to relocate to a proper location. We named the club Unit J, so members would never forget where we started, an old warehouse with the letter J on the door. We have been looking for a new facility this past year. The 124 Argyle Way location checked all the boxes, and many of our members begged us to be in Nevada City. My wife and I are second and fourth generation from Nevada City. We've grown up here, attended NCE, Deer Creek, Seven Hills, and NU. As adults, we worked at Earth Song, PJ's Deli, the old South Yuba Club, and I delivered mail to these streets for over a decade as a mail carrier in Nevada City. So this particular location is very special to us, and we only want to improve it. We can go into more detail about our membership application process, our fees, annual volunteer work, and any other questions you may have. Just feel free to ask. We're happy to answer some questions. Thank you.
Great. Thank you guys so much for that backstory. That's really neat to hear and answered some of my questions, but I'd like to bring it to the table to see if there are other questions, comments, concerns.
Yeah, I got to go visit. So something you guys don't know about me, pinball. In fact, I've been speaking in song lyrics lately, and I was going to say I'm a pinball wizard. There's got to be a twist, because if you pay the monthly fee, there's no quarters for the pinballs. So I figured that I could make up that monthly fee really quickly. It's a great location. You guys are doing great work. It's really interesting. You're going to love it, Adam. It's got stuff that you'll like, you know. I know you. I know what you like. But no, I think, and also just honestly, given that it's been a less restrictive actually alcohol location than what's being applied for here as an open public bar. But there's a lot of good work in there. I think it's a great addition to the area, and this is an essential part of it. So I think it's really great, and it's a really cool place, and I can't wait to get my membership in there. And that Indiana Jones pinball machine you put in the back corner so nobody can bug me while I play it.
If anyone wants to know where Gary will be on Friday nights. Lou.
I think this is a wonderful idea. I'd like to know the names of some of your pinball games.
Yeah, we have The Simpsons, we have The Ghostbusters, we have Indiana Jones, we have Sopranos, and we have several other vintage ones, like real old, 40s, 50s, like Beach Beauty and a bunch of other ones. Those ones are harder to keep in service though, and so we kind of rotate those through, and they're 60 years old, but we have them though.
I was a pinball fan when I was 10.
Adam.
Hi, you guys.
Hey.
Congratulations. How many members do you have right now?
Well, we had a couple hundred, but we're starting over. It's a new location, a new place. I feel like we can't have that many members there.
Yeah.
And so we're just gonna start slow. We have no hurry. Basically, there's an application process, and you apply, we'll approve you. Nobody can come in the day of. And so I'm guessing maybe 130 members will be tops for that area. You know, we don't wanna be too busy.
Yeah.
And we plan just to be open on Fridays, but if Fridays get too busy, then we'll be open Saturdays to split the crowd. But I feel like that location is small enough where we don't need that many members to survive.
How many, what do you imagine, how many members would be in there at one time?
We don't want more than 50, 60 probably at a time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just feels when we put all of our stuff in there, we still have a lot of construction to do and remodeling, but when we put all our stuff in there, you get a feel of what's comfortable. And I'm guessing around 60 or so inside there, maybe 50. Cool. Yeah.
If I could ask, Chief, is there an occupation limit?
I'm sure there is, but that would be fire. And I'm not sure what the occupational limit is.
The answer?
Yeah, I'm sorry. We could get back to you on it.
That's all right. So I was just curious.
And Chief, you have no concerns whatsoever?
None. And, it's a great location for Friday and Saturday. If you bring 50 or 60 people into downtown, it would be a concern. It would be a concern we could absorb. But it definitely on Argyle, the nice thing about that is most of the other businesses are closing up around that time. I mean, the number one business is going to be SPD. So it can absorb it much better. I think it breathes a lot of life, like somebody had mentioned, into that area. I think it's an excellent fit overall. So I have no concerns with it.
I'm picturing people who are used to doing their laundry at a laundromat in Grass Valley deciding instead that they want to do their laundry on Friday night and go play pinball while it's washing and drying. I used to do my laundry at that laundromat, so I'm just wishing I had something to do. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
Adam, you don't have enough to do?
It's been a busy couple of years.
Yes. Yeah, thank you guys so much. Seems pretty straightforward for me. I'm happy to support this. And I'm looking for a recommendation to, you know what? We're going to take public comment from the room, if there is any. And you guys stay close by.
Hi, my name's Heather Heckler. I live on Wet Hill Road, just outside of city limits. And I love that this is being discussed on the same day as the Economic Development Action Plan, because I just really think this is the next step in the growth of a business that's owned and operated by locals who know and love this place and grew up here. And increased investment in the Seven Hills Business District, which is always a good thing. The reason I'm speaking today is because I've been a neighbor of Unit J's location on Loma Rica Drive for almost 3 years, Unit E. Buck and Natalie are amazing neighbors. They are sort of the center of our community in the warehouse area, and they know everyone. They keep the peace there. They bring good things only to that little community. They're smart, and they know how to create a fun and safe environment for people. Super queer friendly, by the way, which is really important to me. And in the years that they've operated Unit J, I've never witnessed any issues or experienced any problems with their guests or their employees. They're just great, kind, quiet, respectful neighbors, and I think they'll be a great addition to the Nevada City community. So I'm here to support. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Heather. Any other public comment in the room? All right. So real quick, if someone wants to find out more or how to get an application, you guys mind coming up and just kind of into that for a moment?
Yeah, so hopefully the construction goes well and we can have like a lunch party, and then we'll have a website and the application and waiver and all that information can be found online. But anybody's welcome to swing by the place too if they just want to take a peek in and see if it might be a place that looks fun. And we welcome drop bys.
So stay tuned, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
The application will be online, and and the board will have to vote on it. And if they approve it, okay, I have a feeling we'll fill up pretty fast, but we'll see.
Yeah, for sure.
You never know.
And do you guys have a timeline with construction? I know that that's not
We're
always.
ahead of schedule. We're doing well. Yeah, it's just us working on it, but we're doing pretty good. Yeah. Since the pictures that you showed, there's a lot more done. Wallpaper's finished, all the paint's done. Yeah, and so we're hoping to be done within a month, but I don't want to hurry anything. When ABC gives us our license, then we actually have to be open within 30 days. So we'll do a soft opening, test the waters, and just practice just because we have to. Yeah, we're in no hurry, just want to do it right. Want to make sure everything's perfect.
Great. Thank you guys so much. Happy to see more life breathed into the Seven Hills District. Hope that just keeps happening. And with that, I'm now looking for a motion to adopt this resolution.
I move we adopt this resolution.
I second it.
Great. We have an adoption in a second. Brittany, can I get a roll call, please?
Absolutely. Councilmember Cece.
Yes.
Councilmember Klein.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Peterson?
Yes.
Hernandez?
Yes.
Yay.
Congratulations,
Thank
Cal.
you. Thank you, guys.
And thanks so much for reaching out and doing your due diligence and just like checking in and all of that stuff. Appreciate it. All right, item number 7, consideration of a business development and sustainability fee waiver program as approved in the fiscal year 2024-2025 budget. Mr. Sean Grayson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As you stated, you did approve a $50,000 business fee waiver in the budget, which you approved last meeting. This will go into effect next Monday because that's July. And it would continue till funds are exhausted or end June 30th, 2025. I would anticipate that we will exhaust the funds, and I'll be coming back to you to see if we can find some, other monies that we could put back in there sometime before mid-year, but we'll see. Businesses, this will be modeled after our previous business fee waiver, a couple little tweaks that'll make it easier for the businesses and for staff. Businesses would receive up to $250 in fee waivers. Eligible applicants would be both existing businesses in good standing in the city and businesses that are new to Nevada City. The categories for eligible fee waivers are business license or home occupation permit. Home occupation permit is a business license, but it's a business license in your home, so it has some limitations, one more page to fill out, and Lisa has to review that as well. The part we can't waive of that is the $4 state fee, because the state still insists we give them their money. Conditional use permits, architectural review, non-residential, so if a business is making a change outside of their building. Sign review, whether in the historic district or outside the historic district. An encroachment permit for parklet or sidewalk dining, as we did in the previous one, as well as special event fees for business generating events, which you'll hear on number 9 is being applied for in June. So, Ken's one in applications in 2025 maybe will fall under this fee waiver. So, but he'll probably use it for his business license before then. No like outstanding balances or anything like that could be applied for, but some examples would be install a new sign, open a new business, pay for a renewal or a new business license, conditional use permit for outdoor dining on private property, repaint or remodel an existing business, especially on the outside, add on to an existing business, or implement outdoor sidewalk or dining parklet. So essentially, this will all be handled at the front desk. When someone comes in to do any transaction, we'll let them know if their transaction meets any of these criteria, and we'll say, if you would like to, you could have a reduction right now by filling out this half page, and then Donna at the front desk will be able to approve it, enter it in the system, and accept the reduced payment right then and there. So if you were getting a business license, instead of paying $154, you pay $4. If you were doing, a sign application, it would cost you nothing because she would just accept you being in the program. So we will keep track of it. We'll report it back to the council, and we are actively on the hunt for more money to support specific industries within the city. This is a general approach, as we did previously, but hopefully we can add more money to this, as well as some specific industry funding through the rest of the fiscal year, aligned with what you heard earlier from Kimberly Parker from the county. Much of that is in our strategic initiative under business, and so we'll move forward. All I'm looking for tonight is that you approve the program and let me start it Monday.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Grayson. Any public comment on this issue?
Good evening, City Council members. My name is Diana Gamzon, and I'm the Executive Director of the Nevada County Cannabis Alliance, and our office is based at the Nevada City Tech Center. Cannabis businesses based here in Nevada City, they pay a $2,000 permit fee for each use that they have for their cannabis business. So if they have manufacturing and distribution or retail and distribution. So often it comes out to about $4,000. And then in addition to that, they also pay their business license fee and business license renewal fee. So this is really great, and we're really grateful to see this. The fact that these fees can cover their business license fees and business license renewal fees. Cannabis businesses operate like any other small businesses here in the city. And of course, in the economic development presentation that we are earlier today, is that we are encouraging growth from within. We want to support our businesses, and these cannabis businesses are just drowning in fees. $4,000 a year for the majority of our cannabis businesses is really significant for them. And then in addition to their business license fees and business renewal fees. So this definitely helps out. And we're also really grateful for the equity fee waivers that have been implemented as well. So thanks for bringing this, and we are supportive of this item.
Thank you, Diana. Thank you for that context and for your comments. Any other public comment? All right, bringing it back to the table. Gary, yeah.
Did you say $250?
$250.
When we did it last time, it was like, there was another zero, right?
Yes, and we had two applicants that used more than $250. What that amounted to, though, was we had to approve people into the program and account for that maximum amount. And then nobody used that, and it just made for a much more difficult. The only people that would practically be doing that would be somebody doing a parklet or a conditional use permit, whereas everyone else used it for business licenses, sign applications, and the related things. So this will let us do it for that many more businesses without having to have and allowing to have a much more streamlined process.
So 200 people at $250 would use up to 50,000.
Correct. 200 businesses. Yeah. And you heard earlier that the county and Truckee don't have business licenses. Truckee actually does if you're selling guns or running a taxi business. Otherwise, they don't have business licenses. We have hundreds of licensed businesses in Truckee and the county that have business licenses here in Nevada City, so they can get bank loans or paycheck protection loans or a variety of other things, just because our business license happens to be cheaper than going to, well, I guess there's only one other city, so I can say this, Grass Valley. But yeah, so those are opportunities for new businesses or even ones that don't operate here all the time. This still would also apply to our event vendor business license type, which in your newly adopted budget stayed at $20. So those are for people vending at Victorian Christmas or at the Psychic Fair at the Foundry or anything else. They pay one time for the whole year to vend at $20.
I'm just curious, because before 20 people used up $50,000 with the 2,500, so it was a very large scale. So.
But nobody actually used that amount.
I got that. Though there were several smaller applications. Okay, just curious.
Yeah, sign applications $220. So, for example, although it's maybe it's $228 now on. With the 4% increase in
support it
fees.
all. I just was wondering if it's a useful amount versus, but I leave that to you.
So this was super successful last time we did it, and it helped out a bunch of our businesses. And so we want to do it again.
Yes.
No further questions.
How much did we spend last year?
You approved $90,000, but our total out the door waiver of fees was $52,000 and change.
Good, thank you.
All right, I'm looking for a motion to approve the fee waiver and authorize the city manager to implement the program.
I so move.
Second.
Brittany, can we get a roll call, please?
Absolutely. Councilmember Ceci?
Yes.
Councilmember Klein?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Peterson?
Yes.
Mayor Fernandez?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great. Thanks all. Trucking right along. Item number 8.
Cameras.
Consideration of a 6-month update report on grant-funded surveillance cameras. Chief Foss.
Mayor, thank you again, members of council. Okay, so I came to you, if you recall, back in September of last year, and we talked about flock cameras. So the stationary cameras that were placed in 6 different locations throughout the city. So this is our 6-month update. Although it is a 6-month update, it's a little over 6 months, and it took most of that time to actually get them installed and up and running. But we have had them installed, up and running now for a little over 30 days, and in just that very short amount of time, we've seen a lot of positive performance from these cameras. So we'll talk about what we have seen, a couple examples of what we've been able to achieve because of these. And first, I'm going to give you a couple examples of the quality of the cameras and where they're stationed. So here we go. So it's a little blurry on this picture. It's better, I promise, if you look at it on the computer. But what we're looking at here, everybody is aware, this is the bandstand at the park, Pioneer Park. We have 2 of our cameras at Pioneer Park. One is near the tennis courts, and one is pointing in the direction of the bandstand.
They're both at the tennis courts.
They're both one stationed at the tennis courts. They're both mounted at the same spot, but where they're facing in the direction is one is pointing towards the tennis courts and the restroom, and the other one is pointing towards the bandstand. Now, both cameras can actually be manipulated and turned in an almost 360-degree pattern. So you can turn them both to look virtually anywhere, but they all return to form. So they all return to where they're originally pointed, which we can modify at any time. And this is the original pointing. Now, on this, what's interesting is you could see there's cones set up for some Little League players, and you can see the little person to the left, looks like he's holding a sign, can't quite make out what it is. So you're able to zoom in with the cameras, and there's this guy.
Hi, Chief.
And you can't actually see it, looks like on our TV, but he's holding a sign that we did this for every council member, but we didn't have time, but it says, "Hello, Adam." So, and you can actually read it quite clearly on the cameras. And then we did blur out the other people that are involved, but you could make out faces quite well. You could see
Chief,
this.
why did you pick the picture that said "Hello, Adam"?
You know,
I wouldn't.
because it fit the most on the paper. It was getting really awkward when I was trying to hold up "Hello, Danielle." And
Sorry, Adam.
Sorry,
Adam. Great answer, Chief.
So here's another location. This is, as we all know, looking up Commercial Street, and right there on Union. It's a crazy intersection. Very clear picture. We did again blur out people that you could see, but let's take, for example, if you see the Tahoe that's kind of pointing the wrong way on the road and driving like a jerk, blocking somebody in, we could zoom all the way in. There we go. And we could see that guy driving. We could see who's driving the vehicle. We could see what make and model the vehicle is. There's a lot of identifiers on there that we're able to pick up because of these cameras. So they're very useful. Again, we did blur out that plate there, but it does make out plates that you could pick up with the naked eye. I'm going to talk about that just a little bit more. Here's some nighttime capabilities. On this camera, it's on this TV, it's not showing the best of the ability, but you can see here, this is Park and Broad, and he's holding a sign that says hi. You're able to make all that out through this location. This one here, I have the distances. Oh, I put it on the corner. So that's 75 yards away. So that's Broad and Pine, 75 yards away. This one is 150 yards, and it's probably even a little more clear. So that's a uniformed officer, obviously, but with the night vision, you can see quite a few features. Is it perfect? No, but it's very, very helpful. Again, the signs really stand out on these. I'm not sure why, but that's how the FLIR works. So that's 150 yards. This one, it's a little creepy. Looks like you caught a ghost, but that's 80 yards away. That's at Union and Broad, one of our other cameras. And this one I showed because this is about the limit. This is 180 yards away under low light. You could see an individual, but it would be very difficult from that range on to get many identifying features from the person or the individual. So what have some of our accomplishments been? In just the month that it's been up, we've issued several citations at the Commercial Street parking lot for people like to congregate and smoke right around the bathroom. What they have gotten very good at doing is when they see a patrol car turn the corner, they put the cigarette out and they stomp on it, and you get there and you smell it, but you can't determine who was smoking, and we tell them, hey, stop smoking and leave. Hard to issue citation. They know we're coming. Now we can see them on the camera. So one of our locations is the Commercial Street parking lot, and it's focused mostly on the restroom there. And when people are smoking, we can go over there, and we have been going over there and issued citations for smoking.
When you say the bathroom, you're talking about the one past the chamber, that bathroom, or the commercial street park? Oh, up on the
Commercial
hill.
street
Up on
parking
the
lot,
hill.
yeah. So,
Okay, sorry. Got it.
Yeah, the main parking lot.
Got it.
A great one was soon after it was installed, we had a couple of juveniles do some pretty extensive vandalism to the bathroom at the tennis courts. And then they somehow figured out how to lock the door with the faucet running and escape, and then keep it locked behind them. And we were able to catch all of that on camera. Our newly appointed SRO recognized the students and where they went, and it was case closed almost immediately. Another big one that was because of our cameras, and some of this is just a piece of the equation when you're trying to solve the investigation, right? Sometimes it doesn't give you every fact, but it gives you just a piece of that investigation that makes you solve it later. So we had the bike shop burglary that we all heard about. Without getting too much in detail from it, we reviewed the cameras. We don't have a camera pointing at that location, but we went backwards. We were kind of able to determine the time of when the burglary occurred. We found a vehicle coming off of Broad Street around that time. So we went, hey, maybe this vehicle is connected. It was going in that direction. We ended up locating that vehicle at one of our hotels. When they checked the hotel, there was a cash register for the bike shop. So even though the camera didn't catch the break-in for the bike shop, because of that piece, we were able to do an investigation to go backwards and solve that case. Huge, I think, for Nevada City. That was one that we would not have ever ended up at that location without the video of these cameras. Another one, this is something that's very simple, that's just almost a quality of life that we get quite a bit. We had a delivery truck hit one of our gas lamps, do minor damage, but do some damage to the gas lamp. I don't think he even realized he hit it, so he does a hit and run technically and drives off. Somebody calls us, says gas lamp hit, we can review the camera and go, hey, this is who hit it. We contact them, get their insurance. Their insurance is then paying for the damage for the city damaged property. All of those occurred in just this last month. Another one that I'm super thrilled about, which I really love, is the officers can monitor these live time from their vehicle or from the office. They were writing reports, monitoring it live time. They saw somebody leave one of the local establishments late at night, believed he was drinking heavily. He was stumbling greatly. They went, is that guy gonna go up to Commercial Street and get into a car? Sure enough, that's where he was headed. They sped over there, intercepted him before he got into the car, and said, hey, we don't think this is a good idea. How are we gonna get you home? You're too intoxicated. This isn't what we want to do. You know, in law enforcement, there's one thing they always say, if you're doing a good job, you'll never know what you prevented. And we don't know what we prevented from that. But somebody drunk driving is a huge prevention, and that's because of these cameras. If we just save one life because of these, it's worth every penny and every time. What can they not do? People ask all the time, are these smart cameras? These are perhaps the dumbest cameras on the planet. Every single action, and we want it that way, every single action has to be manipulated by an operator, by a human being, okay? So they will not notify anything or notify anybody of anything. They will not do AI recognition of facial or vehicle license plates. They do not maintain any of that information. They do record on a 30-day loop, so we're able to go backwards up to 30 days to review footage, but the cameras themselves will not do anything without the manipulation of an operator, if that makes sense. So there is no intelligence to these cameras, which when I came to you a little over 6 months ago, that's what we wanted. That's what I would prefer for our city, and I think the council agreed that that's something that we were preferring to do. So 6-month update, very happy with them so far. Oh, one other thing that we are going to be doing is there was some complaints for one of the cameras where it was mounted on the Commercial Street, the one just above the chamber. If anybody sees it, I agree completely. It does not look good at all. So we are going to be moving that, but to move it, we do have to go back to the company because they have to confirm the movement and before their software is installed, but we've already been in touch with them. Our plan is really just to move it straight up and put it on the roof itself and make it a little, so it's just not as obvious. The cameras are very small. It's not the camera so much, I think, it's more the mounting. We kind of had to put
it's actually the container of the cameras.
Yeah,
the cameras
and
are
it's mounted
super
on a
small,
4x4 and it's,
but you know, the whole
stands
system
out.
is that big.
Mhm.
I've studied them on the tennis court in some detail.
And that's our most, it is now our second most photographed building in the historic district. It was number one for a very long time. If you look in all know the Google Trends, number one now is the painted sign on the side of the National Hotel.
I believe that. I believe that. Wow, how did that get there?
So with that, I can answer any questions if you have any. And we're not looking for any action on this. This was just an update.
All right, before questions or comments from the council, I'm going to take public comment in the room. Zach, I knew you were going to come up on this one.
Thanks for staying with us.
Yeah. You know, I totally understand the desire for policing technologies. I would just love for some really thoughtful policing of the policing technologies. We don't live in a place that I feel really needs 24/7 surveillance. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just think it's a slippery slope. I'm glad to hear that there's not AI involved yet. So maybe some language could be introduced. Really clear transparency about what they're for, what they can be used for, where that data is going, how it's being stored. I think it's really important to protect the privacy and you know, civil rights of the citizens. We got along a really long time without them. You remember landlines? Those were cool. We do fine. So we don't really need to go crazy. So I would just caution would be great. Thanks.
Thank you, Zach. Chief, do you want to speak to anything that was said there, just in terms of, you already spoke to the storage a little bit, or just kind of like intent and purpose?
So a couple of good things that he brought up is these cameras don't have the ability to, he kind of mentioned we don't have AI yet. These cameras never can do that. They don't have that capability whatsoever. So that would be a whole nother system that under Prop 8, I believe it is, I would have to come back to the council again. I could not legally purchase that software or implement that software without coming to the council and saying what my intent is, which we have no intent of going in that direction. And storage, help me out, was the other questions. Storage right now, it's all maintained through the cloud database, which is excellent for us. We did not have to purchase additional storage. It is on a 30-day rotationary window. So it's maintained for 30 days through the cloud. Anything that is identified as evidence, and then we do mark as evidence, one of the reasons we went with this software is it partners with our evidence system. So hopefully I explained this correctly, but we would actually review the video, say, oh, that's evidence. We would tag it as evidence, and it immediately goes from the cloud system into our secure evidence system, which nobody has access to unless they have a right to view that, and then it's documented every time that it's viewed. So it's a very secure system. There's no way to pull it from there into another format without it not being marked as no longer evidence, if that makes sense. So for example, even when I do a screenshot to share here, the system will mark that as, hey, this is being manipulated at this time. So if you went sometime later, you could see when these timeframes have been manipulated or in any way viewed or observed.
So there's a paper trail.
Paper trail, yes.
Great.
That we don't have access to. That's
Yeah.
all, controlled through the system.
Thanks, Chief, for that clarification. And thanks, Zach, for your comments.
And as far as the other items, automated license plate reading technology and facial recognition technology that would go through the law enforcement channels would have to be approved by the council explicitly and would have to be identified on our military equipment list, which you also have to approve. So there's layers there that would prevent the chief from ever doing that without your explicit permission.
Great. Thanks for that reminder. I remember that being a positive, in my opinion, when you brought this to us. Diana.
Hi, everyone. Diana Gamzon, Executive Director of the Nevada County Cannabis Alliance. I said Nevada City Cannabis Alliance.
We'll take it.
I would like to acknowledge where the funds for this grant came from, which are the Prop 64 Health and Safety Grant, which comes directly from cannabis tax dollars. And I really want to thank Nevada City for the partnership that our Nevada City-based cannabis industry has with the city and with city staff. We have over a dozen businesses running, operating, and that there's really good vibes between the city and our cannabis businesses, and we're really proud of those businesses. I was at a city council meeting many months ago, actually speaking about the Prop 64 Health and Safety Grant, and other jurisdictions don't have that same partnership. There are jurisdictions where ordinances were approved for almost 5 years ago, and yet one cannabis business operating and this grants being awarded. And so we are just really grateful for the partnership that we have with Nevada City and the businesses that have been able to develop here, and the economic impact that's come from that, from both the cities, but also from the grant, from the city, or from the businesses and grants. Sorry, it's getting late. And also the impact and the ripple into our greater community for the other items that have come out of this great grant, such as vehicles for our officers, turf field, skate park. I don't know the status of that, but I know that's in process somewhere, and school resource officers and things like that. On a personal note, there's this great HBO show called See No Evil, and it's about all these, it's a true crime with all of these cases being solved just with police surveillance cameras. And so I think it's pretty cool that we can solve crimes in this way. And I am curious what the total cost was for this contract for the cameras, and I also wanted to know if it records audio.
Yeah, perfect. So the total cost was $40,500, I believe, which included the installation, the cameras themselves, and 2 years of service. And it was, as she mentioned, 100% paid for. Well, I think $40,000. So we paid
$500 we paid.
Yeah, which is a great deal. So, and that paid for two years of service, and the service, I can get back to you on what it is, but it is not very expensive for the service itself, which is amazing. Because Gary, as you probably remember, that used to be storage and service used to be where all the money was all the time. And at this point, it's not. It's kind of flipped. So that's amazing. The audio, no, it does not record audio in any way, shape, or form. I guess I went
time's up.
It does not record audio at all, and that was an option that I didn't want. I think it's, to be honest, I think that's intrusive to be recording audio for people that aren't aware. So that's also something.
And video isn't?
I think video is a little different in my mind. I mean, every business, it's much more common in today's world where video is being recorded virtually everywhere you go, but audio, we didn't opt for.
Yeah. Thanks, Chief. All right, back to the table. Comments, questions, concerns?
I am so glad that there's a human being behind every decision, that I am inalterably opposed to relinquishing my rights to make those decisions to either AI or any other system. We pay officers to make those kinds of decisions, and only officers should.
I agree.
Yeah, run a few security systems in my day. These are good cameras. But they are a tool, and they've got to be used. And how you put them to use is what makes the difference. And those are human decisions. I worry if you're watching me in my backyard, because I'm like right next to tennis courts. But I'm not sure what you would see. So.
Then why are you worried?
Wow, because paranoia is a way of life.
Got it. Getting those fumes from the park?
Yeah, once again, yeah.
I'm picturing the officers just watching Gary in his garden and
walking by labyrinth or something.
Career change. I appreciate. I think it's totally reasonable to see this and worry about the potential for abuse. And you have our trust, and your officers have your trust. And as Lou said, it's important that a human person is making these decisions. And the uses that you described I'm thrilled that the people were caught, and that was all squared away because of this technology, and that's great. But the potential for abuse is chilling, and I appreciate if this becomes a regular thing where you keep us up to date, and whichever council is serving at any given time can make the decision: do we want to keep doing this, or have we lost something that we wish we still had? Thanks for bringing this review. And putting my name on the side.
I have no problem bringing this at any time, and if we want to make this a regular report, or I could even include this in our military review at that time, just to kind of wrap it all in at the same time.
That makes sense.
We do that annually, right?
What's that?
We do
That's
that
an annual
annually.
report,
Yeah,
correct?
that probably works pretty well.
I do appreciate very much what you mentioned about having the respect and understanding of what authority, when you're given authority, that you have to appreciate that. Every police officer is given tremendous authority in every community, and I never take that for granted. And at any time, we are here to answer for that, or and talk about that, and explain what our decisions are and why we're making those decisions. I'll never say this is the perfect technology for this community, and I'll never say that this is something we have to have. I'll always say, here's the capabilities and here's our intent to use it, and do we as a community feel that this is something that benefits us as a whole? So I do understand all your concerns, and I have the same ones, but I do tremendously trust my officers, and I do respect them, and I do think we're using this for a benefit for our community very much. But it always pays off to have these discussions and make sure we're regularly reviewing this and it's going the correct way.
Yeah.
So we could talk about when we'd want to include this, but annual or wherever you want.
Yeah, I appreciate the thoughtful conversation around this. I agree with much of what's been said, particularly that, surveillance feels like a slippery slope. And so I'm grateful to you for this conversation. I'm grateful there are mechanisms in place for approval, and that's not about you or your officers, but just making sure we've got some steps before new decisions are made in terms of the software or any changes and such. So thank you, and good work on all of the stuff that's been, all of the ways that this has been used so far. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, imagine a Dick Tracy Crime Stoppers textbook. What is that thing you said?
All right.
Crime Stoppers. Yes.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Recommended motion. I'm looking for a motion to receive and file the report and provide, I guess we don't have any
We
direction
got
on
your
the
direction.
topic.
We'll bring it back with the militarized equipment policy update annually instead of every 6 months. And just if you want to vote to receive and file a report, that'd be great.
All right.
Let's receive and file this report.
Second that.
Great. Motion in a second. Brittany, please.
Councilmember Cece.
Yes.
Councilmember Klein.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Peterson.
Yes.
Mayor Fernandez.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Item number 9, consideration of special event street closure request for 3 Friar Tuck's block parties. Sean Grayson, take it away.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Ken Page is with us, I think.
Yep.
He didn't give up. He's in the back of the room. Come on up. Ken, on June 7th, he submitted this application for these 3 block parties, July 23rd, August 21st, and September 24th. The first one is definitely nowhere near our 90-day window, which is what we require. That's why you see the additional fee for a late submission. But he's got everything in. Besides that, the timing and the location mirrors the 50th anniversary event that they had there. It's essentially Pine Street between Commercial Street and Broad. The event hours are 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. with setup at 2 p.m. and done with breakdown at 11 p.m. I did speak with the Chamber of Commerce, and he had previously as well. One of these days is the day before a previously approved chamber event. So the only other thing of relevance related to the application is he did pay us $425, but it's going to end up being $225. So if you approve the item tonight, we'll refund him $200. If you don't approve the item tonight, we'll refund him $425. But with that, I would invite, with your permission, Madam Mayor, invite Ken up to just share what he's trying to do with his 3 events there.
Yeah, I'd love to hear from you.
Really happy to do this. Yeah, the backstory is, the economy and everything that's gone on has not been very good. And because we open 7 nights a week, we really get the heartbeat of people's spirit, how things are going. So the backstory is that we decided, instead of closing Monday through Wednesday, which was really horrible financially, we reached out to all the nonprofits in the community, and we've met with them individually. And we have 15 to 20 now dedicated nights a month where they come to Friar Tuck's, and they're able to bring tonight was Scooter's Pals, and they bring their base of people. We give them discounts on drinks, and I offer a donation to the group. And we've been doing that since January, and it's been a real blessing. It's the most exciting thing. It's more exciting than the weekends. We had Living Well come in and have a big donation night. We had Sammy's Friends come in and do a big donation night, a Big Brother, Big Sister, and then there's a whole list. So I'm meeting with the heads of all the nonprofits in July, and it's off the chart. They're bringing everybody they know. And when I mentioned the idea of a possibility of a street closure with music, that they could be there, vendor, whatever their booths are, they got really wired about promoting all of their groups. I also met with Gary Miller. He heads the veterans group in town. He has a radio show, and all the veterans are wired about the idea of a possible having one of those times, maybe honor the veterans during the street fair, the sides of the street fair. And then tonight I met with 20 musicians in town. I invited every musician I know to brainstorm on how we can bring heart and life into the community, because a lot of people just need soul music. They need something to get them happy. And we had some great ideas on what they could do or how they could make an event for it if we move forward. So those are the kind of the backdrops of where we're going. It would just unfold naturally in an event, but I just think it's a blessing to the community. I think they need that. There's a lot of, ups and downs and everything everybody's been through these days. And I just think it's a great time to let's have a party and get the community together. So that's the backdrop of what I'd like to do. And if the July was too quick and we need to take that one off, we'll take it off, or whatever you think we need to do.
Thank you, Ken. Any public comment in the room on this? All right, council members, comments, questions, concerns?
Well, Chamber have any comment on the proximity to summer nights?
What's that?
Did the Chamber, you said there was a meeting, one of the events precedes summer nights by one night. Did the Chamber have any comment on the proximity of the events?
No.
I've heard from a couple of folks. One was the concern about the summer nights and closing so many streets for so much time. And there was concern about that. I'm not opposed to this. Certainly, I want to say to a couple of people out there who have responded and provide public comment, it doesn't matter to me. I would do this for any business, no matter what your personal relationship is with them or their standing in the community. If I did it for one, I would do it for another, because that's our work to do that. Although some people certainly have opinions about it. So I'm not opposed to it. It is 3 nights, and I just my curiosity, and this is not opposition. I just think about the functionality of trying to do this.
Yeah.
And Chief, if you had any comments on it, and I just think about the continuous closure of a bunch of streets. But I'd be the first one to note that this town loves a party. So
Well, I'm all in. If July is too tight and it doesn't work well, we should take that off the calendar and just go with August and September. You know, I mean, just whatever you think would function well in our community.
Yeah,
You know, I'm all in. Whatever you.
that's the only real question.
Yeah, if it's too much, then we don't do it.
If it is or not.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
Adam, Lou?
That was the one question I had, just the proximity to summer nights. And I know you reached out to neighbors on your immediate block, but there's all these other neighbors who will be impacted.
Yeah.
And it did just seem like 2 days in a row is probably kind of exhausting. I wondered if there was a significance to the 3 events.
No, I picked them, but I didn't even realize how close that was.
Yeah,
But
back to
I'm
back.
with you. I mean, I'm all in. I mean, we can we open our patio and do summer nights. You know, I mean, that's fine. I'm good with that. And
So
I'm
you're
just trying to
flexible.
figure out a way that something could work like this that would make sense. So not a demand. It's not a, have to. It's,
No,
yeah.
I think I like the thinking behind it. I think it's important.
Yeah.
But that's the concern, and I'm not sure what to do.
I'm in.
Yeah,
August, September would be great.
It makes a lot more sense to
Yeah,
me.
I like that. If you guys are good with that.
Yeah.
I'm good with it.
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll get there.
I'm not, you're the boss.
No, that's okay. Just
I'm
for
a
a little
visitor.
while longer.
I think the civic spirit behind it is wonderful. I am a little worried about the impact on foot traffic of the businesses on Pine Street for those 3 days. Since setup is going to start at 2, does that mean the road is going to be closed at 2?
And when do we need to close it? What would it?
Yes, please.
So if setup starts at 2, we don't generally close the streets till about a half hour prior to. We will tow. If it needs towage, then we'll start towing about an hour prior to the event starting. But we do so many of these road closures at this point, we can knock them up and knock them down really fast. So, and especially on that intersection, it's very easy to close off. So for traffic, for vehicle traffic, we'd be closing it off 30 minutes prior to the event starting. And I don't believe it'll be blocking off foot traffic at all. So foot traffic, of course, is allowed to.
It's a very straightforward, it's simple, musicians on the street, and then whoever vendors want to come to set up, and that's sidewalk stuff, so that's not taking away. So we could cut it as half hour, an hour before, I mean, whatever it takes, because it's very little setup. Yeah.
Well, I'm very glad to hear that you're willing to drop the July event.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate your flexibility
Oh,
and
I'm in. We do it together.
Yeah. All right.
And you're welcome to come. Anyway, you have to vote.
You.
First things first.
All right. I'm looking for a motion. Y'all. Gary, sit forward and give me a motion.
Well, I don't. Okay, so I'm not sure what we'd be making, what we're agreeing to. Are you acceptable? Let me try this. Are you acceptable in moving to August out of July, or did you want to do?
Wait, out of July, and then we have August, September.
August, September.
Yeah.
I would move that we do that if that's okay with you, just to keep it clear for summer nights. That's a lot of activity.
A lot of stuff.
And I think that the problem is that both events, it could either be insane for both events, or it could be harmful to both
I
events.
didn't even realize the connect date. That's a great. I'm in.
Yeah. So August to September.
August, September.
I would move that we approve these for dates to be determined in August, September. Does that work for you? No.
He has the August 21st and September 24th.
Okay.
Dates are not
On there,
they
so
are
September
determined.
24th is
Those are
a
the-
Tuesday.
Okay.
And August,
Perfect.
the August 21st is the third Wednesday, so in between council meetings.
Okay.
So I'm looking for a motion to review, approve, and authorize the special event street closures for August and September.
So moved.
And a second.
A second.
Great. Brittany, can I get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Cece.
Yes.
Councilmember Klein.
Yeah.
Vice Mayor Peterson.
Yes.
Mayor Fernandez.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Ken.
And you're the first invites.
Thanks.
Come
Okay.
see me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Reports and future agenda items. We are moving on to our city manager's report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just for those couple that stayed in the room with us and watching at home, we moved council meetings to Thursdays in July to avoid hot summer nights. I keep wanting to say hot August nights, which would not be in July.
And that's also in Reno. Yeah.
Exactly, yes. I think it's trademarked, so maybe delete that. So we'll be July 11th and 25th. July 11th will be the reorganization of the council, and it'll be then Mayor Peterson and Vice Mayor Klein, but not yet. If you haven't seen the benches or the planters on Commercial Street, I encourage everyone to come down there this week or this weekend. The second that they were on the ground, people were sitting on them and using them and commenting on the planters. So a really big thanks to the Planning Commission who helped see that through, to the council for allowing us to do it, for Lisa who shepherded the process, and Shane and Stuart Baker from the chamber who were instrumental in getting them installed. We still have some final tweaks to do, but it's it's heading that way.
Does one of the final tweaks hopefully mean trimming down the giant bolts so that people don't snag on them? The benches are mounted beautifully, but the bolts are so long that somebody's going to shed blood on those if they don't get trimmed.
Yes, they'll either be trimmed or they'll be they have a plastic heat cap that goes over the top that to understand we don't have.
Can't help myself noticing that.
No, thank you for that. Fee waivers will start next Monday, so if you need to renew your business license or do a sign application, come see Don at our front desk. Newsletter is done. It's at the printers. It'll be mailed this week to all the houses, and we'll put it on our website this week. That's our July-August newsletter. That's got all kinds of cool things, including our 4th of July parade. I believe your colleague will be back by then. All 5 council members will be in the parade in either new fire engine or a very old fire engine, somewhere near the front of the parade. So we'd encourage everyone to come see us. And of course, that means if we are hosting 4th of July parade, we're also doing National Night Out in August. So if you love running through, colored paint bombs, then Chief Fuss will have something about that in the newsletter. And that is all I have this evening, Madam Mayor.
All right. Thank you for that. And council member reports. Who's got something?
Okay. We had a very successful kickoff with the Neighbor to Neighbor grant program on the 13th, followed on the 20th by the CWPP town hall meeting of the Fire Safety Advisory Committee to get that process started. So moving forward on those.
Thank you, Lou.
Yeah, I would just add, they were really well-run meetings with a lot of energy and very well received by the community. So I think it's really important. Brief update on the community conversation process as we agreed to provide at the end of each meeting. Maggie, if you're watching, we do report back. So over 30 interviews have been completed with folks on many different sides with many different perspectives on the issue. That data is being synthesized and put into a report, which will then guide the next steps. We expect certainly that one of the steps will be a listening session where the information that is gathered is reported back to the participants for validation and conversation, which will also help us to determine the next steps to be taken. We'd hoped to have moved it more quickly so that something might have happened this evening, but we are not quite there yet. And though we all acknowledge this is not happening as fast as any of us want, this is a process that must be given the time it needs in order to get it right, or it could go very wrong. So, but we are committed to it. It's moving forward, and there will be more to report at the next meeting.
Appreciate that.
Thanks, Gary. Adam.
I want to thank my planning commissioner, Wendy Ermshar, for her service as a planning commissioner. She's just moved to Grass Valley.
How could she do that?
People are weird, Gary. People are just weird.
Just her house, not her business.
Yeah,
so
she's still
we have half.
We know her heart is here.
Yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to thank her. That's a tough job, and she did that for a good long run. So appreciate Wendy for that, and I'll have a new planning commissioner next meeting after that.
July 25th.
Okay.
Oh, you actually have someone that's willing to do it?
I do.
They don't know what the job is, do they?
She's learning.
There'll be more women on the planning commission than the council. Yeah.
Well, I also wanted to say thank you for being here, Nancy.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and Dean's absence.
Good night.
Really grateful to the organizers of the Small Town Big Pride event that happened on Sunday. That was a really sweet, I spoke there and said, it's a really neat thing. One of the neat things about being in this position in local government is to just create a small little policy that raised a flag above City Hall 3-4 years ago, and then the chamber comes behind us in collaboration with Nevada County Pride to line the streets with the flags on the flag schedule, with all the other flags that are hung throughout the year. And then we have a flag raising event and people show up to that. And then we have a street closure and pride event, which started with a rainbow walk. And I have to say, the last time I was with that many people on Commercial Street, we were marching the other way on August 9th of 2020 in that protest that turned violent. And so it was a really nice contrast to be able to be in community with such vibrancy and to have the support of our law enforcement present. And I know not everybody felt that way as part of my community. And again, I just want to go back to how can we mend and move forward? To me, the antidote to, Pride, the first Pride being a riot and cops being at the helm of that, is to have cops participating in this in a meaningful way that keeps the community safe. And so thank you to the department and you for that. I appreciate that. And what else? Anything else? Wow, what a night. I want a picture before we leave. I'd love a picture at the table, if that's okay, and then standing in front of the table. And I'm just making sure this isn't it, that this is it. I think this is it. Thank you all for the year. It's been a doozy. And like I say frequently, this is a shit gig that I'm strangely suited for. So I'm grateful to be here.
Wow, you just described my next year.
Yeah, well, you don't even know what it's going to be yet. I keep thinking about how boring this year could have been. And I'm grateful that it turned out the way that it did. So yeah, thanks for being in the shit gig with me, y'all.
We don't do
I move we adjourn.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Yay.
All right, let me get a picture.
Yes.
Too bad we missed Doug.
Don't you have a camera in here?